every time I turn the television on, Nigel Farage is on it. What's going on, for goodness sake? He's on every programme, across every channel. And tonight, he's on Question Time. Can you believe it? He left GB News, apparently, for the election period, so he could travel all around the country. I was expecting him to see him on a battle bus. But he's not on a battle bus. He's just going in and out of the television studios, it seems to me. And he hasn't left GB News, because last night he was on GB News being interviewed by Camilla Tomney. And he conceded in that interview that he broke what was the most ground-setting, fantastic programme, Question Time, with the likes of Robin Day. He actually admitted that he broke it without realising that he admitted he broke it. Tonight is Nigel's 37th time on Question Time. 37th time. And he hasn't been on there for 5 years. Since 2010, between 2010 and 2019, Nigel Farage was on Question Time 36 times. No one else has been on Question Time that many times. And definitely it was Nigel Farage who stopped me from watching Question Time. And I really don't want to tune into it anymore. And I certainly won't be tuning into it tonight, although no doubt I'll end up watching clips of it because you can't escape it on social media.
You're on Question Time.
I know.
That's quite good sparring
well,
then. You, Streeting and Morgan.
Well, that programme, which used to be massive, you know, when we were all younger, I'm older than you, but Robin Day and then Dimbleby, of course, for 25 years, it was the real agenda-setting programme of the week. It's diminished hugely over the years. This will be my 37th appearance on Question Time, but first one for 5 years. If Piers is on, well, yes, it could be great fun.
I'm sorry to unleash even more Nigel Farage on everyone, but it seemed a very poignant point to get across that in the 36 appearances since 2010, Question Time has become broken by Nigel. Anyway, Rishi Sunak also had a terrible day today when he was out campaigning, amongst others like Ed Davey, who's decided that he's so irrelevant that he's best to go out and behave as if he's doing a show in It's a Knockout, and hoping that if he loses his seat, as Joe Swinson did in the last election, he might get a chance of being a blue coat at Butlins. But Sunak was out campaigning and had a really difficult first question when somebody in the audience asked him about Partygate. And I must admit, because I lost my mother-in-law, and it brings back the pain of that period we had to go through, my mother-in-law dying alone, and a funeral with 10 people, no hymns, in and out. And yes, it's, you know, if ever we needed a reminder about what the Conservatives have done, this was a pretty poignant question for Rishi Sunak. He did swivel around it quite successfully. But for those of us that suffered losses in the pandemic, I think that it was a good reminder at least.
Yeah, perfect. We've got someone over here. Great.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, it's good that you sort of mentioned trust there. My mum died in 2020, sort of the height of the pandemic. My brothers couldn't sort of be with us in hospital. I couldn't be there. You probably remember that was the month where all the parties were going on in Downing Street. I think the month after you attended a gathering where you got a fixed penalty notice. So my question was just sort of, how can anyone trust you or the party after things like this?
Yeah. Well, I'm really sorry that you lost your mum, and particularly in those circumstances, because it wasn't easy for so many people during the pandemic, the impact it had on everyone's life. And I can't imagine what it must have been for you not to be able to be with her at that time. It was really tough. And I'm sorry for what was going on in Downing Street. And for my part, I apologised. I showed up to a meeting earlier. As you know, I was working on things to help you and your business and many other families like that. And in fact, it was probably in that same period of time that you got to know me as Chancellor. But most of you didn't know who I was before then. And I popped up on your TV screens, announced the furlough scheme, because I knew that we were going to have to work together to get through that. And it was going to be a difficult time.
And next, we have Keir Starmer, who talks about something which really matters to me, actually, the NHS. The NHS saved my son's life in 2007. My son, at the age of 15, was attacked by a gang with a hammer. And if we hadn't had an NHS, then he wouldn't have survived. I doubt it. He needed major brain surgery, and we were very fortunate in that we got the best of treatments under the National Health Service, and forever I will be grateful for having a National Health system. And so Keir Starmer definitely sounded the right noises for me today. I noticed that those on the left are doing all they can to help the Tories hang on and criticise the leader, the Labour leader, Keir Starmer. But I think we need to remember what's important: our public services, our welfare state, our national health system. And a Labour government is absolutely the right choice for me as a voter coming up this next election. As well as for food and farming, I feel Labour is the right choice. They're going to get rid of or free up trade again with the EU and begin a much better relationship. And certainly we hope that they will get rid of these bad trade deals and begin the journey back to where we should never have left. And that's why I am supporting and will be voting for Labour this election. Anyway, here's Keir Starmer.
This matters to me. My mum was a nurse. She was a really proud nurse. There are some fantastic pictures of her in her nursing uniform. Such pride. We saw this yesterday, by the way, as well. We're in Worcester at the college there where they're training up the next generation of nurses. I saw the same pride on the young people there that I saw in the pictures of my mum. It was her livelihood. But of course, it became her lifeline because she was extremely ill for most of her life, and literally her life depended on the care that the NHS gave her time and time and time again in her particular case. And there are other cases in this room as I look around. So it matters to me. It matters to Vaughan because, of course, the NHS saved his life earlier in his life. So it matters to me. And the idea now of us being able to work together to make sure the NHS is at its very best, capable of delivering, not just back on its feet, but fit for the future. Of course, we're proud of the NHS. Roots right here. We look back with great pride. Every year in the Labour movement, we celebrate the NHS. It's one of the greatest achievements of any government ever, that Labour achievement. I want not just to look back proudly, although I want to do that. I want to look forward and be able to say the NHS that we will build will be there for the next 70 years for others to rely on it in the way that Vaughan and I and my mum relied on.
And today in The Economist, they report that Brexit is the only big legacy of the 2019 to 2024 Parliament. The Conservatives have achieved remarkably little since winning their landslide in 2019. However, most governments that win big majorities can point to a coherent set of laws that shape the country in their image. For instance, in the late 90s and early 2000s, New Labour passed bills that introduced the minimum wage. They established human rights and domestic law, and they overhauled Britain's approach to discrimination and set the country's course in cutting carbon emissions. For the Conservatives in this Parliament, all they can say is they caused an absolute mess with Brexit.
Bea and Pippa, who both have ill health, say they struggle to get by. They stopped to talk with me on their way to the food bank.
That's where we're going now.
Because the cost of living has gone through the roof.
You still think the Conservatives should sort of get back in?
They've helped us more than anybody.
Yes, they have. They've stood by us.
With what they've got to play with, which isn't a lot, they've juggled it where it's tried to help the poorer rather than the richer.
He came out in his suit, soaking wet. God bless him. Roll on. He's been there through COVID. He's been there through everything for us, and I'd be so gutted. Honestly, I just want Conservative.
Red or blue or something in between. This place could well become Litmus Lancing.
Thanks for watching. Do subscribe if you haven't already and comment below.